MMA Rants and Raves, The Ultimate Fighter, Season 11, Episode 7. The fight was Brzezinski versus Henley. Now, this was an interesting episode, guys, because, you basically have a lot less bickering and personal stuff that goes on between the fighters and coaches. It seems that things were more focused this time. It was about the fights, talking about injuries, because things are getting serious. A lot of people are eliminated already. It's episode 7 as a result of all the fights. So it basically sets up a fight between Brzezinski and Henley. Let's talk about the fight for a minute, guys. The fight starts out, it seems that Henley is really very aggressive, gets the takedown, doesn't do much with it, but controls most of the round. Then finally, towards the end of the round, you see Brzezinski getting on top, throwing some really good elbows, and it seems that he's been training with Ortiz. That's what he's known for when he gets guys down the ground and pound. If you have a guy that's guarding against punches as you're trying to ground and pound him, what he does is he's known that if you catch your hand, you ever see them trying to hold their hands and you're trying to get out, what you should do is you go with the elbow like that, because you can't stop that from happening. You're holding down the punch because you don't want to get hit in the face, but then you get the elbow. And that's what he's known for. It's a very good strategy that he's been successful with it in his career, and it seems that he taught Brzezinski how to do that, and he ended that round with some vicious elbows. So that was interesting how that happened, but to Henley's credit, he controlled most of that first round. Second round, about 4:19 in, Henley lands in half guard, and 3:46. It seems that Brzezinski attempts a submission. Then Henley gets his back, attempting a rear naked. They finally stand up, about 56 left. You see Henley ducking under a flying knee, and that was pretty impressive. This is a guy who's only been fighting for about 6 months. They basically, a lot of people have been doubting his ability because he's really inexperienced as a fighter. He ducks under that knee, then Henley presses Brzezinski against the cage, about 42 in. Henley's on top again, and then they call it a draw. So it goes to a third round. Now here's the key, guys. Here's the key to the fight. It was Henley who was the dominant wrestler most of the fight. He should have gone for that takedown, but yet, surprisingly, it was Brzezinski that went for the takedown, and then he controlled most of that round. It was basically Henley on the bottom, taking nasty elbows, and as a result, he lost the decision, and the decision went to Brzezinski. He won the fight, and then later on in the episode, they picked the wild card, and they chose McRae over Henley. I don't agree with that pick. Henley looked a lot better in that fight. He made a mistake in the third. Instead of going for the takedown, went for takedown defense. It failed, and he ended up losing the fight, but he looked a lot better. Towards the end, they say he was guessing, but he got a second wind. He was even fighting from the bottom, which is a very hard thing to do. He knew that he was behind the fight, and McRae got him. McRae was so gassed out in that other fight, and it was a sloppy fight, too, against Josh Bryant. He needed oxygen at the end of that fight, so I don't agree with the decision. But anyway, that's the way it was. They picked McRae for the wild card. And it was an interesting episode, and it was an interesting episode because there was a lot less bickering, and it was a good fight to watch too. So anyway, looking forward towards episode 8 to see what happens. Would like to know what you thought about episode 7. Please leave your comments. Please rate this video and subscribe, and thank you for tuning in.